Hello, I am the last goth unicorn, and I would like to have a conversation. In general, I am going to be making videos this year, kind of to hold me accountable for everything that I am about to show you in this video. But I also like to make comparisons to like different pieces of media. So I'll be doing things like that. But for today, I just wanted to kind of introduce my project for the year, which is I am about to show you my hoard of books I've been collecting for like 10 plus years, and I'm going to try and read all of them this year. Do I have any illusions that it will happen? No, but I am going to try. So I'm going to start with I have a bunch of stacks laid out. I tried to do it by genre, but they probably got mixed up somewhere. So I'm just going to start with this one in front of me. I have Dianetics by L. Ron Hubbard. If you don't know who L. Ron Hubbard is and you don't know what Dianetics are, I'm so sorry what I'm about to say. Dianetics is the foundation of the cult of Scientology. Sorry, the group of Scientology. L. Ron Hubbard is their founder. He is also a science fiction author. I happened to find a copy of Dianetics last year, 2 years ago. And it's from 1986. So I'm really excited to read this and get a full scope on Dianetics. I'm really scared because it's a nearly a 600-page book. So that'll be a fun read. Next, I have UFO Secrets Revealed. This is a UFO book from, I think, the 90s that I found forever ago. I just like aliens, so I like reading about UFO theory. I don't think aliens have been to Earth, but who knows? Maybe this book will change my mind. Next, I have Irish Fairy and Folk Tales. W.B. Yeats. Yeats. But this one has a dedication to someone in the front. But I like fairy tales. I like folk tales. Next, I have The Celts by Alice Roberts. I don't know if this will be accurate. It's based off of like a BBC documentary. It's got some photos in it, which is interesting. So I guess I'll learn about the Celts. I have The Groundwork of Metaphysic Morals by Immanuel Kant. This one should be a quick read, depending on if I understand it. I think I got this one 3 or 4 years ago. I don't fully remember why I got it. I think I just thought it was interesting and liked that it was annotated inside. And yes, I am genuinely going to try to read all of these, like front to back kind of reading. I have the Extraterrestrial Species Almanac. This was a birthday gift from my mother, which is extremely funny. I can't. Oh man, I just found this woman in her beautiful dress, very compelling. Yeah, I think this will be quite the read. I'm excited to have all the information, the valuable resources from these informational texts. This is Saints for Home and School. This is like an old school textbook. It's got like kids' names in it. It's from 1958. It's got like these really cool old woodcuts in it. I want to get some of them tattooed on me. I think the Saint Vincent one would be really funny, but I really like the Saint Gertrude. I have this book about the medieval and early modern times. Talks about the age of Justinian, which Justinian the First is my favorite Roman emperor. Don't tell my friend who loves Caligula. This is from the 80s, so who really knows if it'll be accurate. Next, I have Princesses and Court Ladies. This book is from, well, it's got a dedication from 1913 in the front. If that wasn't telling. This one I think is from like 1909 or something. 1906. We got my 1906 Court Ladies book. Oh, it's even got gold on the top. Forgot about that. This is the book I'm most frequently afraid is full of bugs. But I got this on a vacation near the ocean, and it kind of smells a little bit like mildew all the time, even though it certainly isn't moldy. But yeah, it's basically just information about court ladies written in the 1900s. So I'm gonna have fun reading this and learning a little old-timey drama. I do really enjoy history, and I really enjoy the history of I like the history of princesses. I was a princess girly as a child. So this is the World of Lore, Monstrous Creatures. I think my mom got me this when I was doing a Monster of the Week campaign with my friends. But yeah, so I still have this, and I'm going to read it. So that was my first stack. My next stack, this should be my anthologies stack. So we have Ray Bradbury's Long After Midnight. My uncle really liked Ray Bradbury, so I try to read him as much as possible. And I really like anthologies, so I thought that this would be like a really good way to read Ray Bradbury. I mean, I also read him in high school, as I think most people did. I have Alice in Wonderland. Harlan Ellison is one of my favorite authors. He's a terrible person, don't get me wrong. He's a good writer, though, unfortunately. I think his books are like really cool. My favorite of his is Alone Against Tomorrow. But I got this at like a church yard sale a while ago. We have 7 Gothic Tales by Isaac Dinesen. I'm gonna say a lot of names wrong. But this one I happened to see and I said, Gothic Tales. I like those. So I got this, and it's a book from the 60s, but it kind of has the vibe that it's like never been used really. It like still has like this really old ass sticker on it, like but no, this one should be fun. Next I have I don't know if I can show this word, and I might have to like I'm just gonna hide it when I show it, but it is the Mammoth Book of Erotica. So I saw this at the thrift store and I tried to buy it face down because I don't like to be judged in person. She flipped it upside down. Why? I don't know why I thought she would do that otherwise. But next I have Savannah Spectres and Other Strange Tales by Margaret Waite DeBolt. I got this like a really, really long time ago. And I've just kind of been holding on to it. I've never read it. It's a bunch of different ghost stories from Savannah, if you couldn't guess. And then this one is The Memory Librarian by Janelle Monáe and various other authors, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Janelle Monáe and Ayla Dawn Johnson, Janelle Monáe and Danny Lore, Eve L. Ewig, Johanka Delgado, Cherie Renee Thomas. Yeah. So this is the Janelle Monáe one. I have started this one before, and it's actually not, I don't know. I'm struggling with the first story. I'm hoping I like the other ones a little bit more. All right, next we will do the myth pile. So we have Medieval Myths, Norma Lore Goodrich. I'm going to stop saying the author names. But this one I got forever ago as well. I like myths. So if the size of this pile is not evident, I like mythology. We have the Prose Edda. I have started reading this one a little bit. I had to put it down because I was just not reading it, so I just cycled it out and put it back in my piles. I have the Metamorphoses I've never read the Metamorphoses. I have read the Iliad, I've read the Odyssey, I've read the Aeneid. I've also read oh God, Hamilton's mythology, Edith Hamilton's mythology, which kind of gives an overview of a lot of Greek mythology. So I don't know. I'm gonna try these to see if they move me any more than other classical poetry myth does, because I read Hesiod's Theogony also, and that one did not treat me well. Anyway, I have Missing Folk Tales Around the World, The Evil Eye. But I don't know. I thought it was compelling. It has a bunch of different stuff from different places, so I wanted to give it a read and see if I learn anything. I have Myths and Legends of the Middle Ages. I think I also get this one by the ocean because it also smells kind of like the ocean. This one, I think I started a little bit of it and then like just stopped reading it because we came home. Next, I have American Indian Myths and Legends, which is what I've heard to be apparently the like one of the better sources of indigenous American like myths and legends. Because I mean obviously a lot of the ideas and cultures is very like orally based, and so this one I actually do appreciate that they list what like group that they happened to get the legend or myth from. Next I have another Irish folktales book. This one I've had probably since high school, if not middle school, and I just never read it, so I'm excited to read this one. And then I have Myths and Legends. I also have probably had this since high school or middle school and just never fully read it. I think I read through like a fair portion of the African myths in here, actually. Yeah, because it starts with the African myths. So I probably read a decent amount of these and then just tapped out at some point, and I'm going to read it now. Okay, this this is going to be my biggest stack. This is my fiction stack. Technically it's usually two, but this, for the start, we have Molly Bond. This book, I actually think this copy of this book is from the late 1800s. It doesn't have a date inside. It does have bicycle advertisements. Molly Bond is actually the story that originates the phrase beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So I am excited to read this eventually, and hopefully it doesn't completely fall apart on my ass while I'm reading it. I also have Murder by Tradition. This is a 90s murder mystery by a lesbian author, and I happened to also accidentally find this when I was on the coast on vacation. So I'm excited to read this. I'm not huge on murder mystery. Next I have Giants in the Earth by I forgot that I'm not reading names anymore. This one I got a very long time ago, and I have never read it, and it seems fairly interesting from the perspective of someone who really likes Horan de Balzac. So I don't know. I'm interested. It's about like a family coming to America. I have The Color Purple by Alice Walker. I had to read an Alice Walker short story, which I think was called like Beauty When the Other Dancer Is Self, or something like that. And I really liked it. I recently found the copy that I had from school and read it again and was like, man, that still hits. That's still really good. Next, I have Candide. It's a Voltaire, or a Voliere, as my partner might harass me into saying. But this one should be a quick, easy read. If I ever have a day where I just want to just smash a couple books, I'll probably pull this one out. Ooh, that's a man's body. Wow. He's been stabbed. Yeah, so this one should be really fun. I think it's a satire, so I guess I'll learn that. Speaking of my boy Huron de Balzac, I got Old Garo here. I really liked Eugenie Grandet, so I am excited to read this one as well. I have The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I've never read it before, and I felt like I deserved to be able to read it. I really like some of the opening sentences in it. Oh, that's where this bookmark went. Ignore that. I'm excited to read this book. I don't really know what to expect. I don't know anything about it. I have 100 Shadows. This is my... I don't actually think I have a lot of translated books down here right now. I don't know. This is like the one translated book I have down here, or I guess the myths are mostly translated. But this one is an advanced reading copy of this book, so I don't know entirely what that means, but I got it, and I'm excited to read it. It sounds like a really interesting concept about a bunch of people disappearing in like this, and everybody like, yeah, I don't know. It sounds really interesting. So I'm excited about that. No, this one is a little confusing. I have already read Flowers in the Attic, but I have not read Petals on the Wind. Flowers in the Attic is one of my favorite books, so I am stoked to read Petals in the Wind. But I happen to get this weird like double copy where it's both of the books. Because I didn't know if I would be interested in reading like Thorns of Yesterday. Is it Thorns of Yesterday or If There Be Thorns? I don't know. I didn't know if I was going to be interested in reading the other stories in the series, so I just wanted to read these two mainly. So this was the perfect thing to find for me. If you can tell, most, if not all, of these books so far, most of these books have been thrifted in some form or bought secondhand in some form. Next, I got 10,000 Doors of January. I just read The Everlasting, and I actually got this week. I found it at a thrift store, and I said, Alexi Harrow, I love The Everlasting. So I wanted to try this, and I think this one will hopefully be pretty good. I don't even know what kind of genre this is, but it sounded interesting, so I will be reading that. I have Last Night at the Telegraph Club. I actually feel like this needs to be swapped to my romance stack, but I also like don't know if it technically qualifies as romance, but I don't know. I'm not into the technicals. I don't know. This one might need to move pile. I know very little about it other than it is on a lot of banned book lists and that it is about lesbians in the 40s, 30s, 50s. I was wrong twice. But yeah, it's lesbians in the 50s, and I want to read about that. I think that's interesting. I'm not usually into just like straight up romance stuff, so hopefully there's enough other stuff going on that I won't immediately just get bored. Next, I have Babel. I happened to find this at the thrift store and was quite excited because it was one that I was interested in, but also was like, I don't really want to buy something that huge if I don't think I'm going to like it for full price. So I didn't. But yeah, no, I've heard good things about Babel. I've also, I don't know, I feel like I've also heard controversial things about it and how it's not a perfect book. Like any book is a perfect book. And I just feel like that maybe the fact that the author is a not white woman might be contributing to this problem, because we tend to see this issue when non-white women write anything. And I just want you to chew on that a little bit. Okay, this is a weird pile. We're starting off strong with the Precious Moments Bible. This is a New King James Version. This is my childhood Bible, or it is a new copy of my childhood Bible, which I got rid of with a Furby. Because if you've had like an old Furby, you would understand. yeah, I'm gonna fully annotate this. This is mostly a gift to my father, but also a curse to him, because if I know more than him, I know more than him. I have Norse myths. This is like my massive weird books that I've had for too long. This one I've definitely had since high school. I have Unexplained, also had since high school. Oh man, that's a really good picture of Nessie in there. Yeah, so this will be a fun read. I have Secret Societies, the complete guide to history's rites and rituals. I don't believe that fully, but I did read this for information on like the Freemasons and stuff during my high school projects that I did on cults, because I did that a lot. Next I have Into the Unknown. Into the Unknown. I think this is a Reader Digest. Yeah. This one is another one that has a bunch of like weird stuff in it. Like we got spiritualism, we got ghosts and spirits, we've got, what was that one? The Enigma of Lunar Lunacy. We have reincarnation. So this one just kind of gets into a bunch of various fascinating phenomenon and what might cause it, etc., etc. So this one should be fun. I think that'll be nice. Maybe I'll get an idea for my next campaign or something. I have the Ultimate Teddy Bear book. I am going to be reading this front to back. I actually was... this is a DK book. I don't know if anybody else was like absolutely just raised on DK books, but I love a DK book. It was like how I learned how to read. So I'm quite charmed by the Ultimate Teddy Bear Guide. And so I'm excited to read this. And then this one is Encyclopedia of Mysterious Places. It's got different mysterious places in it. Some of these I think are going to be very disappointing. We got we got, yeah, I was like, there's a lot of different places in here, and it's probably a lot of places that are like mentioned in texts and then are like the Great Church of Emperor Justinian of Constantinople, Hagia Sophia. I thought we knew about that place. I don't know. This book's kind of old, so it's very possible we've made archaeological discoveries about some of these places since this book has come out. This is from 1990. So yeah, it's like 36 years old at this point. Okay, next we're doing my scariest pile to me, which is my romance pile. One of these I actually don't think belongs here, but first we're gonna do From Blood and Ash, and this book I got thinking it would be like, frankly, ACOTAR romantasy, but not by Sarah J. Maas, so I wouldn't have to suffer as much. And then I found out that it's actually kept at the real romance section and not the fantasy section, and I said, oh no, there's less fantasy than the ACOTAR series? Oh, good heavens. So this will be fun. I've heard that this is like just nonstop, you know, like the whole book. So I'm so excited. It's so long. Next I have Splintered. This is one I think is miscategorized. I don't know anything about this book. I just kind of made assumptions. This is like a mid-2000s dark retelling of Alice in Wonderland. So I don't know what to expect from this. But I'm excited. I think it'll be fun. Next I have Zodiac. This is a YA sci-fi romance with a love triangle. I read it as a high schooler, and I loved it and I hated it at the same time. So I wanted to try to reread it. It'll take me probably like half a day, if that. Next I have Fourth Wing. I've never read it. I know so little about it other than there are dragons and Yeah, I know very little about Fourth Wing other than there's dragons and sex. So we have that, and then I have Crescent City. I've already read a little bit of this and annotated because I can't read a Sarah J. Maas non-critically. And I don't know. I just got this at the thrift store, so it was kind of gross and beat up. And I don't like Sarah J. Maas's writing like at all. Like her style is just like not my thing. Her I guess her themes are not my thing. Her style's fine. It's just very easy to read. It's very palatable. And then her themes and like the elements of story that she uses, I just don't really like. So I put it down and put it back in the stack. Um, Next I'll do sci-fi. Next we have Dune. I've never read Dune, so I am excited to read it. And then maybe I'll do a comparison to the two movies because I like the David Lynch movie a lot. I don't think it's a very good execution of the story because it's quite boring, and I know people like love Dune, but who knows? Maybe Dune is actually secretly really boring. I have The Dispossessed by Ursula K. Le Guin. Um, I don't know a lot about this book, but I like I've heard really good things about the author, and I've heard that she has like queer characters in older fiction like this, which is something I like to see. I read an anthology by John Farley recently, and he actually has a lot of really interesting ideas about sexuality and gender within his books from the 80s. So I highly recommend a little John Farley explanation. I will say he does use slurs, something to look out for. Next I got Volatile Memory by Seth Haddon. I actually got this book. There was recently a bookstore that specializes in romance books that opened up. And my friend took me, and I felt weird not getting anything, so I got this one because I was like, this one's very short and very short and sweet. The cover looks really interesting. I happen to hit any book. I can basically magically pick a book off of a shelf not labeled sapphic or queer and pick up the sapphic book. So I happen to do that, and so I have been looking forward to reading this one. It looks really interesting. I read the first couple pages and it was really good. So I also have The Mysterious Island by Jules Verne. This is an old ass book. Oh, good heavens. Does it not have... I don't think it has a page that tells me when it's from. I think it might be from the 70s or something. I don't know. This book is old. The spine is like cracking off. I don't know if you can see that. But you can kind of peel that off. So try to take good care of it. It's my last sci-fi book. Next is my fantasy books. I have Sister Light, Sister Dark by Jane Yolen. I'm actually hilariously reading a anthology of like dark fairy tales that I got for Christmas, and Jane Yolen's in it, and I was like, oh, I recognize her name from a book that I own that I have not read. So I'm excited about this one though. I really like Hans Christian Andersen, and this is always, they always are like, she's the Hans Christian Andersen of America, and I'm like, that's cool. I guess she writes cool fairy tales. And I do actually like, in the beginning of this, there's like a prophecy that she wrote, and it's just like really well written. I want to study how she writes her prophecies for my own like fantasy stuff. Next I have the Bone Dolls Twin. This one, I think this one is from like 2000. I don't know, it sounded interesting to me. I've been trying to buy more, 2001. I've been trying to buy like fantasy books and stuff like this that are by women because I own a lot by men. So I got Jane Yolen, I got Lynn Flewelling. Next I have Peter S. Beagle's The Folk of the Air. I did not realize that there was a popular book series called this, and looked on the internet to see what people thought about this book and only found stuff about the Cruel Prince series. Why is it called Folk of the Year, y'all? Anyway, Peter S. Beagle wrote The Glass Unicorn, which, if you couldn't guess by my name, is my favorite book. And so I thought that I found this at a store and I said, oh, you know what? I like his writing a lot. And I think he does like what I call like mid-fantasy really, really well. So I'm actually excited about this. Next I have The Gilded Crown. As a Locked Tomb fan, I am starving. I am withering, one might say. Dying of starvation over the lack of fourth book in the 3-book series. What was supposed to be the 3-book series. But anyway, this is a lesbian necromancer book. Or at least it seems to be a lesbian necromancer book to some degree. I've heard good things about it. I've heard that the cover doesn't mean like anything in relation to the actual story. But I am really curious to read this book. This one I kind of just bought on a whim. So I'm excited. Next, this was part of my Christmas gift. I got The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. I saw this at the store and I said, that sounds really good. Next time I have like a little spare money to get myself a little something nice, I'll get myself a book. And I'll get myself this one. And then I forgot the name and I forgot the author's name. And I only knew it by the cover of the book. And I basically just kept looking up book covers that look like Gideon the Ninth but aren't. And that was not coming up. So I happened to see this book on like a post I saw about books with disabled characters in them. And I was like, oh, that's the one I was looking for. So I'm excited about this one. I don't know a lot about it. I thought the synopsis on the back was really interesting. So this one should be fun. And then this was also part of my Christmas gift was The Priory of the Orange Tree. This book is going to be a big read, but I like a big read. Wow. I just wanted to see how many pages it is. It's like 800 pages. So that'll be a big read, but I have some other big reads that I'm currently working on that I probably will end up liking less than I like this one. This is my final stack. Well, semi-final stack. I will also introduce you to the books that I'm currently reading after this. I have The Thief of Always. This is my horror stack. I'm not really positive some of these are horror, but most of them I'm pretty sure are. So I have The Thief of Always, which is like a middle grade book, and I've been, as you can see, I have a bookmark in it. I've just been like slowly trying to read it because I struggle a lot with reading middle grade books now. This was part of my Christmas gift also. It was The Haunting of Hill House. I don't know, something about just like the opening of this. So I wanted to read Haunting of Hill House. I like the show a lot. I know they're very different, but I wanted to read The Haunting of Hill House. It looks really good. This was also a birthday gift. This is The White Devil. I don't know much about it. It's about a boy in a boarding school who talks to a ghost. I have What Moves the Dead. I heard this book. I think I've heard that this book is good. I think I've heard mixed opinions on this book, but I happened to find it at the thrift store and I said, I've looked at that book a number of times. I'll bite. So I'll see how that is. This was also part of a Christmas gift. Never Whistle at Night. I heard this one is good. Apparently, the person who gave it to me gave it to a sibling, and the sibling did not like it and was like, what was that? But I had actually been looking at this book because I heard it was good, and so now I don't have to buy it for myself. And then I have this, which is The Nightmare Society 1, 2, and 3. And I have no idea what to expect from these. I am intrigued, I am excited, and I am horrified. These were part of a Christmas gift. So they are horror stories rated 14 plus. So I don't know how that's going to turn out for me. That is all my upcoming to be read books for this year. Hopefully I don't add to any of that. I'm going to be holding myself accountable, and I will be recording and adding anything I need to. My currently reading, I have quite the currently reading list, so taking that off because that's grandpa shit. So part of my currently reading, this is my most read currently. This is The Curse. This is my anthology of like dark fairy tales. It is, you can like see how much I've read in there. It's decent. I there have been 2 stories in here that I have like genuinely like liked and thought about a couple times. For the most part, it's pretty mid, and I don't really like any of the stories. I am intrigued. I really like anthologies, so I tend to keep them just because I will like 1 or 2 stories in it. I tend to read one of these like stories a night, so I'll like lay in bed, and before bed I put my old man, my grandpa shit on my book and I do a little reading. Next, I'm currently reading the Murderbot Diaries. Just started it. Really like it so far. This was also part of my Christmas gift. This was another birthday gift I received. This is The Replacement, which is about Changeling Boy. Also just started this one. When I feel indecisive, I just open a new one of the books I have selected, which is why I have so many currently reading. This one also just started is The Power of Myth, by Joseph Campbell. I've heard from my sister that he's like a really big anthropologist or something. So I got it because it was about myth. Next, I have Ray Bradbury's Martian Chronicles. This was the Ray Bradbury I'm currently reading. I started it, but I did not put a bookmark in it, so I will have to amend that. This one I haven't started reading yet. This is a complete collection of Edgar Allan Poe. I haven't started reading it yet because it's 1,000 pages, and I am already reading it. And it is 1,000 pages. That's how deep I am in. Technically, I'm farthest in this book, because you can't tell. That's 300 pages. Yeah, this book is 1,153 pages, and I'm not super excited to read it. So I'm going to be audio booking part of it, I think. It'll be fun. But that is my currently reading list, and that is what I am going to do my best to try to read all of these books this year. And I think that is kind of an impossible task because I have no idea how many books I just laid out. Hold on. Let me count altogether, including my current reads. That is 74 books, which I will say my goal last year was to get this amount of books under 80 books, which I managed to do. Oh, I did manage to do it because I think I've only read like 2 books this year. So I've got it. So that is my upcoming reading list. If you know of any of these books that have other media connected to them, so like obviously I'm reading it and I have seen the first movie. I will be doing a comparison of it, the book, versus it, the movie. I also intend to watch the like television series that had Tim Curry back in the day, mostly just because I love Tim Curry, but also because I want to do a little comparison with it. When I read Edgar Allan Poe stuff, I intend to talk about like the Fall of the House of Usher show, as well as other things like even What Moves the Dead is actually inspired by Fall of the House of Usher as well. So I can use those as kind of comparisons to each other, as well as Haunting of Hill House. Obviously, there's the show. Dune, we have the movies. But if there are other things, maybe more niche ones that have adaptations, and you know about them, let me know. I would love to absorb that and really see how they're connected. My next thing I make, I intend it to be I intend it to be this extremely long video about The Little Mermaid that I have been preparing for a year and a half, where I watched 8 different versions of The Little Mermaid. I was going to break it into 2 parts where I talk about the animated ones and then the live action Little Mermaids that I've watched, just to make it easier on my throat. But that is my big plan. Let me know if you've read any of these. Let me know what books in here you think are gonna really hit for me. I'm definitely a person who likes a kind of, I like flowery language, I like horror, and I don't really do romance at all. So let me know what you think. Let me know which ones hit for you. Let me know if you've read any of these, because obviously my reading list lacks a fair amount of modern text. So that's all for me, I guess. Have a wonderful time. It is a great time to be obscene and off-putting. So make sure that you are doing your best out there.